Hello, welcome to video number 3. This video will discuss chapters number 4 and 5. We will address the social construction of sexuality and then talk about how gender is inscribed on the body. By the time we've gotten to this point in the course, you've had the opportunity to review a number of chapters in the Shaw book and are really beginning to understand how some of these concepts play out in our everyday lives. Chapter 4 is titled Sex, Power, and Intimacy. And this chapter focuses on the politics of sexuality in the contemporary United States. It discusses the social construction of sexuality and explores key issues such as intimacy, romance, and communications. There are a number of key concepts contained in this chapter, and many definitions that you will want to familiarize yourself with. Let's start off by discussing 3 definitions: sexual scripts, sexual self-schemas, and sexual identity. Sexual scripts are guidelines of how we are supposed to feel and act as sexual individuals. These scripts, which are placed into context by specific communities and nations and society, shape how we are to act. We develop what is come to be known as sexual self-schemas, which we develop by assimilating, rejecting, and renegotiating the sexual scripts which are available to us. We form them based on our past and present experiences, which then guide our behaviors. Sexual identity is one aspect of sexual self-schemas that can be defined as a person's attraction to or preference for people of a certain gender. Today in our culture, we see what is known as heteronormativity. This is characterized by the illusion that everyone is a heterosexual person and that this is the norm, and the mass media continue to reinforce these notions. Your textbook contains a short quiz on the history of the gay liberation movement, and I encourage you to take a brief look at this as it addresses the portrayal of gay individuals in television and movies, discusses the military's don't ask, don't tell policy, and further discusses the status of gay marriage in America. You will also find a world report on lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights, which is very interesting as well. In this chapter, we also learn about Emma Goldman, who was a birth control advocate who was arrested for distributing birth control literature. And the text also discusses contemporary topics such as cybersex. The readings contained in this chapter include a work by Jessica Valenti discussing the cult of virginity, and Jennifer Baumgartner's essay on what is bisexuality. As you contemplate the ideas in this chapter, think about how the politics of sexuality have affected your life. One fun thing to do may be to sit in a public place and watch examples of compulsory heterosexuality walking by. Let's move on now to chapter 5. This chapter focuses on women's bodies as sites of struggle and resistance in contemporary U.S. society. It explores the way the body is a generated product, socially constructed and framed by the ideas and practices of gender and other differences. Sections in this book address the relationship between nature, the body, femininity. It explores the beauty ideal and the practices and strategies for resisting these ideals. Your book contains a body image quiz that I encourage you to take, and there are further discussions regarding cosmetic surgery, body art, and many other topics. The implications of these ideals, this beauty ideal, often result in eating disorders and other negative conditions that affect women. The chapter concludes with several readings, including an essay by renowned feminist Gloria Steinem titled If Men Could Menstruate. Marnie Grossman talks about beating anorexia and gaining feminism. And other topics in the back of the chapter include aesthetics for African American women, what we do for love, embracing large noses and large people. As members of society, we often consider our own image. What exactly do you think is the ideal woman's body image? What should the ideal man's body be like? How are these images related to systems of power and equality? And how do they influence the way that you think about your own body? I encourage you now to read chapters 4 and 5 and respond appropriately on the blog. Thank you.